right, let's kick off an investigation that's going to take us way back in time, and honestly, it might just challenge everything you thought you knew about our own history. The question we're asking is pretty simple, but the answer, well, that could change how we see ourselves completely.
This is the story we're all told in school, right? That our ancestors were, simple people using crude tools with pretty limited knowledge. We tend to picture ourselves at the very peak of this long, steady climb of progress.
But what if that whole idea, that straight line of progress, is just a myth? What if ancient civilizations had knowledge and skills that even today we struggle to fully understand? Now that is the mystery we are going to try and crack open in this explainer.
So, our investigation starts in the sands of Egypt, home to one of the most iconic civilizations of all time. And here, the evidence isn't buried deep underground. Nope, it's carved in stone, standing right there for the whole world to see.
4,500. That's how many years ago the Great Pyramid of Giza was built. 4.5 millennia. Just let that sink in. This was built without electricity, without modern machinery, without a single computer. This one fact alone sets the stage for an absolutely incredible puzzle.
I mean, the sheer scale of what they did here is staggering. We're talking about millions of stone blocks, each one weighing several tons, that were lifted and placed with a kind of precision that would give modern engineers a real headache. And its alignment to true north, it's almost perfect. This was not just some big pile of rocks. It was a masterpiece of math, astronomy, and physics.
And this brilliance wasn't just limited to building things. Their medical knowledge was, frankly, shockingly advanced for the time. We found evidence that they performed complex surgeries, they practiced dentistry, and they had a really sophisticated understanding of the human body. This was a civilization built on deep, practical wisdom.
Okay, for our next case file, let's head east to the Indus Valley, in what's now modern-day Pakistan and India. The evidence here isn't one single monument, but entire cities. And these were cities that were just light years ahead of their time.
This comparison really says it all. I mean, look at this. Over 4,000 years ago, cities like Harappa had organized grid-patterned streets and incredible sanitation systems. Almost every single home had access to clean water and was hooked up to covered drains. To put that in perspective, a lot of cities in Europe wouldn't get to that level of public health for another 3,000 years. These were, for all intents and purposes, the world's first smart cities.
And here's where the story gets really unsettling. This incredibly sophisticated civilization, well, it just kind of faded away. There's no clear evidence of a huge war or some single catastrophic event. They just disappeared quietly, leaving us with this massive, unanswered question.
All right, case file number 3 takes us to Mesopotamia, to the Sumerians. Now, their legacy isn't built out of stone. It's built out of ideas. Ideas so fundamental that, believe it or not, we are still living by them every single day.
The way you measure your day, that comes directly from the Sumerians. They invented writing, which is, the bedrock of all recorded history. And they're the ones who gave us the 60-second minute, the 60-minute hour, and the 360-degree circle. Their ideas are woven into the very fabric of our modern world.
I mean, really think about that for a second. A civilization that rose up over 5,000 years ago came up with a mathematical system so powerful, so robust, that it has shaped how every single person on this planet perceives and measures the flow of time. That is an absolutely incredible intellectual legacy.
For our final case file, we're heading way up into the dizzying heights of the Andes Mountains in South America, home to the mighty Inca Empire. And here, we're going to see how pure ingenuity allowed a civilization to thrive in one of the toughest environments on Earth.
40,000 kilometers. What is that? Well, that's the length of the Inca road system. 40,000 kilometers. That is nearly enough to wrap around the entire circumference of the Earth. A massive network connecting mountains, valleys, and cities, all of it built by hand.
And this is what makes what the Inca did so completely mind-bending. They pulled all of this off without some of the most basic technologies we just take for granted. They had no wheels for transport. They had no iron tools for cutting stone. They didn't even have a written language for administration. And yet, they built an efficient empire with cities so well constructed they could withstand earthquakes.
This quote just captures their mastery of stonework perfectly. If you go to a place like Machu Picchu, you'll see these massive stones cut and shaped to fit together like a perfect puzzle, with no mortar holding them together.
The precision is it's breathtaking.
So, okay, we've looked at 4 incredible and very different civilizations. We have Egypt, the Indus Valley, Sumeria, and the Inca. So what's the common thread? What connects them? Well, the evidence seems to point to a shared philosophy.
You see, their genius wasn't about dominating nature with brute force. It was about understanding it. These people were masters of observation. They watched the stars, they understood the seasons, they respected the materials the land gave them, and they designed their entire societies to work with their environment, not against it. So, after looking at all this evidence, where do we land? What's the final verdict from our investigation? What should we really take away from these incredible glimpses into our past?
Well, the first big conclusion is a direct challenge to our modern ego. This idea that humanity is on some constant upward march of improvement, it's flawed. History shows us something way more complex, full of incredible peaks and mysterious valleys.
And that leads to an even more unsettling thought. If progress isn't a straight line, then that means that crucial knowledge, incredible skills, and entire ways of understanding the world can simply be forgotten. It means we may have lost just as much as we think we've gained.
And that's where we'll end. Perhaps the people of the past weren't primitive at all. Maybe they were just different. And as we keep uncovering their secrets, we might just discover that the past holds wisdom that isn't really behind us, but is maybe, just maybe, still waiting for us to find it again.